Fabulous fourth grade writers, thank you for joining me for today's writing lesson. Our learning target today is that we can gather information from a source to answer specific research questions. Yesterday, for your country report, you did a little bit of the beginning stages of research and decided on a country that you want to pretend to visit to for a virtual vacation. You typed in the name of your country here, and you also added two more questions to the bottom of our big question chart. If you didn't do those things yesterday, please start with those today. As you today start to look for research, I want to remind you of a couple of important things when we're doing research. First is, it's really important that we use our text features. Here's a poster to remind us about what text features are. Okay, remember a text feature is something like a heading, subheading, bold-faced word, caption, diagram, map, italics. All of those types of text features can, it says, show us info, tell us info, help us find info, and they're used to organize info. Okay? And the reason it's important to remember that before we do our research is we need to use those text features to help us save time as we read and complete research. Going back to our document where we're organizing all of our research, we know that we have these 10 big questions. The big questions are what are going to kind of drive you as a researcher so that you know what you're looking to find the answers to. Today we're going to use Newsela as our source to start with. We will eventually get to more sources. But today I'd like you to read in Newsela for answers to your big questions. For example, our first big question for all of us is, where is my country located? Now, I know some of you probably could give a description of that right now off the top of your head. You might say it's near the equator, it's in the northern hemisphere, the southern, but we need to check our research documents for those actual specific details. We cannot just put down what we think we know. So we're going to go to Newsela. To get to Newsela, it's newsela.com. A couple of you today emailed with great questions and you were having a hard time bringing up the long list of countries. If that's ever you, there's a login button right up here towards the top right for all of you, not for me, but for you. You'll click that and then please log into Newsela. You don't need a password, you just click with Google. Once you are then in there, you can either type in countries of the world and hit the search button, or now that you know your country, you could type in countries of the world and then the name of your country, like if it's Jamaica. You would type that and it's going to bring you to your specific country information. There it is, the first one. I'll click my country. And again, if I forgot that first question, I can flip back while that loads. Where is my country located? Go back to Newsela, and I'm going to use my text features to find that information. Okay. Let's see, I noticed that it says countries of Jamaica. I don't see a map, so that won't help me. See some important information there. I see this subheading here and it says people and culture. It's going to tell me about the people, government and economy. So if I want to know anything about their government, I'm going to read these paragraphs, but that's not what I'm looking for right now, so I'm not going to bother to read that right now. Man, well, my text features for this one did not help me a ton, but that's okay. Oh, I'm going to now start at the top and I'm just going to start to read a little bit and notice where it starts. Jamaica is a mountainous island in the Caribbean Sea. The country lies about 518 miles south of Miami, Florida. Now, time out, readers and writers. If as I'm reading along, I feel like I'm having a hard time understanding, like this part, the country lies about. I'm like, what? It lies. It tells things that are not true. I'm a little confused. We can all, not just myself as a teacher, but all of us can go up to this little section up here, 650L. If you're at all ever confused in Newsela about what you are reading, you can adjust the reading level. This is not something to be embarrassed about. This is not something that you have to tell anyone else about. It's important that what you're reading makes sense to you. You can go all the way down to 370 if that's helpful, and it will give you the same info, just maybe in a way that's easier for your brain to understand right now. If you read that and you're like, oh, but that's not very much information, go in between. This is what I thought was too hard. This is where I'm like, oh, it's not really telling me much. And I might go in the middle. Now I'm going to try to read this again. Jamaica is an island nation. The country lies in the Caribbean Sea. It's about 500 miles south of Miami, Florida. It's part of a chain called the Greater Antilles. Now that makes sense to me. That is helpful info. I'm going to read it one more time. It's an island nation. It's in the Caribbean Sea, 500 miles south of Miami, Florida. It's part of a chain called the Greater Antilles. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to do my best to put that information in my own words. As you type, this text box will grow and give you space. So for example, I'm going to put, it is an island found in the Caribbean Sea. Can't spell Caribbean, that's because I don't get to travel there and I don't read about it very often. There we go. It's an island found in the Caribbean Sea. It is part of the Great Antilles chain of islands. Can't remember any more info, and that's okay. I'm going to switch back. 500 miles south of Florida. Now, almost word for word, I borrowed that sentence, but the other ones were pretty much my own words. I'm going to see if I can fix this. There, I tried my best to put that in my own words. The last time we did research, we copied word for word first, and then we put things in our own words. We did that because we were going through the learning process of what this is all about. This time, you can skip that step, and if you read your source first, and then put it in your own words right away, then it's not a step that you have to go back to and redo again. Now, I don't feel like I found another fourth fact that answers my question, where is my country located? I'm going to leave that blank for now because over the next few days, I'm going to use other sources and I hope to find more info. Now, since I typed Newsela information into my chart, I'm going to scroll way down to something that we haven't talked about yet and that we haven't looked at yet. And this is my Newsela source chart. I knew you all would be using Newsela, so I copied that in already, so we're not going to add that. But I want to put in your brain and start to program your thoughts. Every time you do research, when you borrow a fact from a source, you absolutely have to list that source in your source list. Otherwise, you are stealing information and it is not okay. We always need to make sure we're keeping track of what sources did we use to find our info. Next, I want to go down to this one because I see this word geography. What is the geography and land like in my country? I know I saw a subheading in here. I switched back to Newsela. I know I saw something about the land. I thought I did. History. Let's see. People and culture. Nature. Nature to me is land. Let's see. It's home to endangered Honduras swallowtail. Ooh, here we go. Over years, people have developed the island they built on land where animals used to live. For that reason, there is less wildlife. All right, let's borrow that information. I'm going to put that in my own words. Oh dear, if you have formatting problems like I do, just leave them. It's okay if your numbers are not lined up. I'm going to write, there used to be lots of wild animals lived in Jamaica. However, land has been used by humans for homes and farming. So there are fewer wildlife animals in Jamaica now than there used to be. You've all been listening for a very long time, so I'm going to pause the pause button here. But what your assignment is for the rest of this week, so for Wednesday and Thursday, is to use only Newsela for now and to go through and take your notes and answer as many of your questions as you can. Again, it's okay. Like if I don't find any more information about the geography and the land, I might leave 2 and 3 and 4 blank for now. We'll go back to them another time. If you went way ahead and you have this chart all done, please email me and I'll talk to you about the next step. Okay. Thank you for being great listeners and for working hard. I wish you a great day. Miss you all. Sending you love and hugs. Have a great